both cases, we're wearing a uniform, and in both cases, both parties have the same uniform on. In these situations, we can use the uniform to gain advantage, okay? When two hockey players square off with each other, just like jiu-jitsu, the first thing they ask themselves are, is this a same-sided situation, what in jiu-jitsu we call aiotsu, or is this a kenkyotsu situation? Opposite stance. He's lefty, I'm righty, okay? Because that will massively change how we interact with each other once we get grips. Let's also understand that if I get grips on him and he does not get grips on me, we have the same kind of advantage in hockey fighting as you would in the sport of jiu-jitsu. If I take an opponent and I get a hold of my training partner's jacket and he has no grip on me, there's no good reason why I can't circle, pull, and bring the head down. What I'm looking for is a stiff arm situation where I have an angle on my opponent and his head is lower than my head. In situations like this, when he goes to recover, the stiff arm makes it very hard for him. As he fights his way back up, his jaw will always be exposed and you'll be able to go in and hit from an advantageous angle in the most destructive way possible. The most destructive way to hit a human being is always the point of the jaw in a sideways direction that turns your opponent's head. Okay? That's exactly what the hockey fighters are looking for. What this creates is a situation where if I put a hand on him, he has to put a hand on me. Okay? Remember, if I have a grip on him and he has no grip on me, and I start to shuffle and bring the head down, that is a massive advantage. Now you have angle and height. When your opponent goes to recover, you will always be vulnerable. So your opponent knows this. And what will happen is when you first go in to get a grip on your training partner, he will always be looking to get a symmetrical grip on you. When I go to pull my opponent's head down now, it's significantly more difficult. He's anchored to me. His hand supports me. If I'm foolish and naive and I start to circle to my left, I'm coming onto his punching hand. So it's important, just like in jiu-jitsu, that we move in the right directions. I always want to move away from the danger hand. This one's holding me, that's the one that's going to hurt me. So just like jiu-jitsu, we want to move with purpose. And in general, we move away from our opponent's punching hand. Now, that's good, but we've got to do better than that. So far, we're just evading damage. At some point, we've got to get advantage over our opponent. The only way I can secure advantage is to bring his head down and secure an advantageous angle and expose the side of my opponent's jaw. If he's stiff-arming me, it's very hard to do that. So our whole thing is to put his fist in our armpit. Now when I move and shuffle, I bring the head down. When I turn my fist and stiff arm, when my opponent goes to bring the head up, it's very, very difficult. As he fights to bring the head up, he will always come onto punches at that optimal angle across the chin that turns the head. So once again, when we first start off, we play a distance game. I want to get a hold of my training partner's uniform. When we go through the uniform, I have the choice of going inside the collar. This is the preferred method because it gives me the control and the robustness of a collar. If I cannot secure the collar, another good method is the 4-finger thrusting method, where I take 4 fingers and dig them in and turn. When I turn, now you see tension running through the clothing. This is almost as good as securing the collar. Okay? In both cases, what we're looking for is a situation where you have a grip on him and he has no grip on you. As I move away from the dangerous power hand, this will create situations where you have advantage of height and angle. So every time he comes up, he comes into a blow. He knows that. So his thing will be to get symmetrical grips. Now when I try to move and pull, I can't bring his head down. We're neutral. So we stuff the fist under the armpit. And now when I move and pull, I bring the head down easily. As he goes to recover, we go straight in on our training partner's jaw. You hit in 2 ways. When the head is low, we go over the arm, hitting down. When we hit, the thumb turns downwards. If my thumb is up, I tend to impact off shoulders and make contact in less than optimal areas. Always the side of the jaw. The best way to hit, thumb down. Now pretty soon, he's going to bring the head up. And that's when we start going under the arm. and we play between over the arm and under the arm. And that's the play of the game. He will always be trying to pull me onto his punching arm and create a situation where he can go over my arm. I never want that happening. So once we stop the hand and we move out to the side, that's when we go over the arm. He comes up, we go under the arm. Now he goes to counter, we pull off, we're always moving away from the power hand. And we play a game where we go over our training partner's arm. And so you see there is a direct similarity with the sport of jiu-jitsu, that we start off in what appear to be neutral positions, but through the use of the clothing, we gain a subtle sense of advantage, which would be very much to our benefit.